Good evening, YouTube. It's the Tinman here. What did I name my thing? Bigfoot Eco. So, I'm the Tinman. You might be new to my channel. You might be just trying to check me out or something like that, or trying to figure out your own way of trying to learn about Bigfoot and all that kind of stuff. And that's all free for us to, try to venture out and figure out what we want to believe about Bigfoot. But there's so much stuff on Bigfoot now. What you need to do is you need to quickly just get through to there's a being. There's too many reports. There's too many authentic. If you can't get through to Patty video, then you're in the wrong entertainment or wherever you're doing it, right? A lot of people in Bigfoot are really wholeheartedly. I'm huge-heartedly. I live in my car, and that's because of my heart behind my information that I'm trying to share. And that's why I'm doing this video tonight, is because I want people to truly hear from me and realize I am not doing the same type of research as everybody else. I am not. I'm 100% doing something that nobody else is doing. And I'll explain what I'm doing that's different. I'm claiming, other than footprints, other than tree manipulations of, say, hello Victory, sorry, and I'm going to just change that for now. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to do my high chat messages on my side for now, guys. Doesn't mean you guys can't talk and so on and so forth there. Anyways, so I just wanted to say, when it comes to the structure, so there's kind of 4 or 5 things that we, as a community, almost all researchers and people, anybody thinking into the Sasquatch or the Bigfoot or that type of a bipedal phenomenon, because there's can be foolings out there and all this kind of stuff and different trickeries, and our mind plays tricks on us and so on and so forth, right? So out of all those, out of all of us who are looking, we all pretty much, I believe, are around 5 different items. And it's a footprintish kind of thing, whether you put it into cast and you have your own proof of it, or you just video log it, whatever. That's one of the things, is footprints, foot casting. The other thing is actual video. Whether you videotaped it yourself and you got home and hey, I think I videotaped something, so you look at it. Might be 2 different realms of this, because if a person is standing there and filming and they know they're filming, so that might be 2 different levels of that we could count as in this pile. So there might be 6 things, okay? So catching them on video, basically. So we're now at footprint kind of evidence, wood structure kind of evidence. Along with that wood structure, most people that I watch on YouTube are categorizing in, the leaf messes with it, the other bushes over here, how they're leaned and they're broken over and stuff like that. And they kind of bring that all into just a wood structure kind of setting, understanding. Some people are starting to brave out now and going, yeah, I think they come here and I think maybe they've been here before and stuff like that, right? But not too many people are reading into a day-to-day mark. So what would be a next one? I wish I did have the chat off, but I'll just leave it at this now. So we got also, that would be another one, would be photos. I believe that's another one. So we got video, photos, we've got footprints, we've got structures, Some people are coming up with hair at different times, but it's not like they're going and necessarily plucking it out of them. But there's speculation on the hair. There's been lots of strong speculation on that at different times in hot areas where it's on chain link fence or barbed wire fence, I should say, and different things like that caught on trees. So DNA on those kind of levels. I guess we can include, though, not that many people are claiming that they state for sure that they would know this is a meal that Bigfoot did eat and left his bones behind here and such like that. I don't know. So we're kind of there where most people that I'm finding, that's one of their areas of talking. The other part of their areas of talking is just putting down all the other guys. And that's just dumb, because there's no sense. Like, I put out warnings a couple of times to some guys that I've come across, and they're just straight out lying on the thing, so I put out my little statement about them. But there's no really sense on me badgering another human being, because trust me, from what I've seen out there in the bush and so on and so forth, I got no clue what those guys are going to be really truly seeing. I think they're probably not even realizing themselves how much they're seeing, honestly. I think I'm pretty lucky from my life base as a human being taught me to be this type of, like, I would have been good in the army. I didn't join the army. I would have been good in the military. I didn't join the military. When we went out there, there's times where we had our good times where we'd go play the war games, with paintballs. And I don't know if you ever played that game, but if you're getting shot in certain areas and stuff, and I played it back in the days where I think you just wore goggles like that. I think I just wore motocross goggles or something for bike riding, and a thick jacket and all this kind of stuff, right? We played with even my sister-in-law. I remember she ended up with a scar from one of the shots or whatever. My point is, when I played that game, just the rush that I wanted to play with it went beyond thinking about the pain and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not putting myself out there. Guys who can relate with this are relating with it. Other guys who relate with, yeah, I've seen lots of crazy. Like, that was kind of my thing. I did really lousy in school. And the reason I did really lousy in school, you're listening to me right now, is it because I was necessarily dumb or something? No, it was just because my mind was somewhere else. And where my mind was mostly is outside, trying to figure out adventures and stuff. So then when I walked home from school, I was one of the kids that's always late getting home, because I get lost in the ditches, going to the dikes, doing all that kind of stuff. So what I'm trying to paint up to is how I'm different from those 6 or 7 different items that the average person looks at and stuff. I started playing with all the snakes, doing all that kind of outdoors kind of thing, getting to, I'd go to Manitoba, get to shoot at the gophers and kill them if they wanted them out of there because of the cows and stuff like that, right? So that's nothing to where I've gone, but what am I trying to say here? I got to get myself more backtracked here. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I really am truly worried, and I'm not pushing very hard. Like, I financially is stricken enough where I have to, once again, and I've said this before, so it's not like a whining plea, but I pretty much have to wait until the end of the month before I'm financially in a better spot and I can go out there and try to get the killer footage, because that's what I believe I have to bring. And I don't really want to bring the killer footage, because it really is going to be killer footage. If you get away and just have the footage, well, you're lucky you're not dead, because I've been growled at by them. I've explained this to you, and if you don't get it on my verbal attack video, go there and study it more. Study it. As soon as you push start, then you go 1, 2, 3. And right now, you will hear a roar of a being down there. And I connected with him, and I know what he's willing to do, and I understand that kind of stuff. And for me, and so now I come into all this other understanding that people get tired of and bored about me talking about trees and stuff. Trees, fracking, water control, environmental damage, cliff avalanching. I wouldn't doubt it if they figure out a way to get involved in snow avalanches. Anything's water redirecting, if I said that one or not. So, and water redirecting, lots of times, what they're causing in that redirecting of it is now all of a sudden the water could be flowing on something that has never flown on before in all the hundreds of thousands of years or something. So, or whatever. But anyway, so it's going through an area that can be all freshly now moving mud, moving avalanche, making that kind of stuff happen and stuff. So with what I'm trying to express to you guys is we're not only going to have to harshly try to figure out, okay, what's going on here and how do we start to protect and how do we bumper ourselves and stuff, but we're also going to be bombarded with information in our own minds, realizing many things in history these guys have been involved with and we had no clue. I honestly say that without any doubt at all. And so the harshest way I've actually been trying to tell you guys is through all these different tree things. Like I'm seeing trees around me now in the day, not in the day, but as just days go by, their forming has changed. And it is not to a natural thing of, because it's raining. You know, there's nothing going on. There's, you know, if a piece of wood was bent like this and it got a bunch of water in it and it really petrified and went through it and stuff, and then the sun came out baking hot and stuff, yeah, it's probably going to twist it up and stuff like that. But that's the thing. We're not having any of those weird weather elements or elements that will make trees act and be I don't know. To me, I see it way different than you guys now, so I don't know how to plea my plea on the low end of not sounding crazy. Right? But at the same time, I'm telling you guys listen to me time after time, and I'm telling you when I do those dog videos and as interaction and stuff, I don't know at all what your guys is. Nobody really states their mind to me what they're thinking is going on or whatever type thing, right? Most of the time. Get a few different things going through ideas and stuff. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not that type of a practical joker. I'm not that kind of an insane person where I would want that kind of attention at all or anything like that. I'm not that stupid of a person, and I think you could probably relate that. I mean, go back a couple of videos and see, I had a dog. I had Jack with me, man, living with me. So that's another thing you guys got to do. Is you really need to do this. This is part of the cycle of information. If you want to understand the cycle of information, this is the best way, and I'm remembering this now, and I'm happy I'm remembering this. As you go back 13, 14 months to when I really did start this, my face-to-face, my first face-to-face video happened, I believe, somewhere around the 13th day, if I'm pulling it out of the hat properly. So for close to 21 days, I just did this process of learning. And all that learning is being translated and a lot of it to you guys through the video part of it. So if you actually apply yourself and pick a number of those videos even, and you try to just, you know how you can go oldest to newest or whatever, and you just start going through them like that. I know I got a lot of videos, but you yourself will educate yourself if I'm a bullshitter. You go on Survivor Man, you watch and try to see if he's doing tricks and stuff and lying to you, and you try to figure it out. You do it with Grizzly or Grizzle or whatever his name is there, and you do it with lots of other people. I used to do it all the time with Crocodile Hunter. I got really good at deciphering fake things. Like I've been this guy wanting, I don't know, always striving to educate myself on the outdoors world part of it, not in a building, not, I was even a carpenter, and, in carpentry, you do a lot of things. I became a general guy in the construction trade, where I would be that guy who had to make sure all the finishing touches on a full renovation or a full build of a building and renovate it for one of the fanciest restaurants in town or whatever type thing like that. I sometimes was in the place where I would go in there before the big money guys came walking through the place. I would go through there and see if it was worthy our job, worthy our company and such, right? So I've had to run lots of guys. I've had to make sure guys were happy all the time and stuff. I wasn't one of these guys that got off when I was running my jobs that, you guys are putting me behind schedule and stuff like that. I was more the kind of guy that would be going, okay, let's figure out a solution here. We got to try to solve this problem. We got to keep ourselves on schedule or figure out our plan or whatever. So that helps me in the field. I'm always, whenever I'm walking around, I'm just trying to figure, oh, is that over there like that? Oh, like this. And in this year, it's blossomed into something new. Because before it was always just in construction, on the road. I've traveled a lot on the road and stuff, so I'm one of these guys, if you ever travel with me, my head is constantly going there. If you're a person that thinks you're supposed to be looking at the road all the time, you'd probably be a bit nervous riding with me. Yeah, and I credit a lot of this to my dad, because my dad, when I remember being as a young man, him entertaining me so much by showing me the features, because, the farming features and the mountain features and stuff, because that's where we were always going, is we were always going through the mountains to visit family. So I was always had a keen eye for it. Even now, it's not like I got beautiful eyesight. I don't know what I would have, but it's not ridiculously lousy or anything. But even now, I think I blow a lot of people away, even when I'm just with my regular eyesight, just for how well it really does work. But to come into a really good focus, then that's a fail, unless I were to get good glasses or binoculars or whatever like that. So now I'm back to my stuff, character stuff, whatever. You figure out some character. And I'm talking about these trees and stuff, and I know it's wacky, but yeah, there's no way to get around trees. There's no way to get around all the fracking stuff I talk about. Those fake dog calls out there. Like, there's other guys now who are starting. It's funny because down in the States there, I was just watching somebody's video there, and it's almost like they're staying a little bit away from the coyote type of a call, and they're almost going humanoid on their calling. 13 thumbs up, so that's awesome. Is that what it is? Oh, 6 thumbs up and 13 people out there. Nice. How's the world doing? Yeah, I've seen a big Sasquatch head here. Sasquatch Outlaw. Nice to see you in the house. Anita. Bigfoot Forest. Sherry. Annette. Bigfoot Vancouver Island. Or Bigfoot Forest Vancouver. Nice to see you guys. Victoria. So I'm just lost. What I'm trying to say to you is, Hey, Jacob, Welch Witch, Jason. I'm trying to say Megan, Han. Nice, lots of people out here. Warnock, how's it going? I'm trying to say there really is a concern, people. There really is a freaking concern that you guys out there want to kind of believe me that, oh, something must really be going on. But like Joe Rogan, I was watching a couple of clips from Joe Rogan. He has, I forget the guy's name, but it was about mushrooms and stuff. Just had this guy on there and he's talking about the fungus and stuff like this. Well, in my work, what I've been calculating out, I've been coming up with connections kind of with what he's talking about. I'm not a science-minded mind. This guy is like a genius-minded kind of human. All I want is his genius mind to actually go to my first face-to-face video. But why? Because if he can get at the 2-minute point and he can get in there and he can start realizing, hey, there's a kid Sasquatch in there and stuff like that, it's going to help his faith grow a little bit towards me. This guy's got something pretty cool here. And then if he had all wanted to reach out on that, or if he had all reached out and looked at one of my next videos or something like that and is able to hone in on one of my other 100% verifications, then maybe it's going to start a curiosity into him, and then he sees me trying to chat with him, and then me saying, dude, please, trust me, and doesn't let me talk to you for a few minutes over the phone or whatever type thing, right? And yeah, when I'm in that situation, I'm one-on-one like that, I do much better of a job. Or if a person's leading me along with some questions and stuff, and I would teach that man just a lot of the stuff that I've recognized, a lot of things that I understand that are going on around the world, because there's a lot of earth manipulation, guys, going on that people aren't aware of. There's a lot of peculiar avalanche type things going on. There's a lot of peculiar stuff. This guy even talks about this one fungus honey fungus killing off the trees and stuff. Through this, because I've been talking about it, Bigfoot kills off the trees too. He has his own plan within that. And so this might connect his thing more than it's connecting my theory. My theory of I'm coming across this many honey fungus things going on, no. Like my thing is not going to be right. Like, on the sense of him flipping, whatever. I'm sure you understood what I was saying there, but that with in the Amazon forest and stuff, I've talked about this, how they're all trees are losing barks, that they don't understand what's going on with a lot of the trees and stuff like that. Well, I started watching these guys just move into this area and start doing that stuff. And because I've been following them around every day, I see that they've been doing these. And those guys don't understand it. They don't understand why the arbutus tree is just a tree that loses its bark and the bark disappears. They do not understand why that happens. I have my theories, and I think you guys are pretty clear on what that theory would be. So I'm just, I'm a little burnt out. I need to enjoy life. Sorry, I'm gonna chill here. Okay, so Jason is saying you should check out Rocket Propelled Monster YouTube. They have great evidence. You don't need evidence. You just go to my channel and look at the evidence. I have an authentic, for sure, Jason, an authentic piece of bone, deer bone, that was being cleaned out by the Bigfoot. I would swear on it, even though I didn't visually get to see the gift being dropped off, but just with the whole settings and stuff, and that bone's about this long, and you can tell it was probably a clawed animal, and you can tell it was cleared out like that. There's 3 different levels. Like, you know, when you got that popsicle treat or whatever, you end up turning this thing like 360 degrees a whole bunch of times. You could see in their carving and cleaning it out, they didn't get to that point of, oh, I should do that, or maybe the sense of them may not be able to get to them there, because there's 3 different plateaus in it, and you can tell they're going like this, cleaning out the moral. You for sure know they're going like this. You for sure know they're going like that. You're for sure probably sharing it with the kids too. All of a sudden, Tinman's coming through, and I'm going through the thick of it, and I'm going just cutting around through the back area of this one, my first number 1 habitat. So they're my actually first face-to-face experience, that clan. And so I'm walking through there. All of a sudden, I go to step over a log, and there's bone sitting down there on the trailway. And you could tell it had just been shifted and kind of placed there or whatever. Anyways, I pick up the bone. It was red with blood in it, in that morrow. So it was that fresh. And as I was walking along, that morrow dried up. So the blood started to dry up. You could see it going pink and then going towards white, more color, bone color, you know, and progressive. I don't know. So true, because Bigfoot are dangerous. Yeah, you should check out, okay? Any animals that live in the wild should be treated as a threat. I hear you. At least if they're not a threat, then there's other ones around, hey? Yeah, you never know, and that's part of the thing with Bigfoot Sasquatch Outlaws saying, and that's one of the things is that's when we usually are kind of catching those females or those babysitters on video at times, is because of, like you're saying, of babies. And like a bear and you in between a cub and a mama bear, look out world. You know, how many of us have really walked into that situation, and you're standing there and you're going, hey, there's a baby Sasquatch. Oh, there's an adult Sasquatch. I'm standing in between them. How many times has that happened just yet? Really? Darlington, Maryland? A dead Bigfoot was found? I don't know. Certainly onto it there. Favorite type of Bigfoot. I don't know what my favorite type would be. One that's over 20 feet away. Could you review propelled Grafton monster? Could I review it? It's called Propel Grafton monster. Okay. You know what, if you could, Jason, if you could, just after, you know, later or whatever, shoot that also in my message there so I don't forget it. I could write it down, but I think you'll probably remember to do that, Grafton. I'll just remember that. Propel Grafton. No, I don't know any teams. You know, I'm not a person that wants to get involved with teams. I don't mind having my own team. If I end up somehow I'm able to generate this into something where, you know, my government contracts me to watch over this place that's a research, I mean, where it's an actual habitat, and say they come around and I can prove it to them and such, and they say, okay, let's contract you or whatever, then I'll do that kind of stuff. It requires me hiring people. Then I would do that kind of a thing and just make sure I have someone that's going to manage it. I'm going to keep myself as a low-key person, and that's partly because of my injury. And I've gone here pushing really hard through my injury, and trust me, I just want a break. I want that break, whether I only last a week or 3 weeks or whatever, just to kind of balance out, and then I can come back into it a little bit more of a clear head and decide what I would want to do. But hooking up and hanging out with people like that, not going to do it too much. You know, if I would like to do some guest speaking eventually. Not guest speaking necessarily, but I mean a couple of podcasts. I've done already one out on Vancouver Island, and way back in the beginning days there, and I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, that's what I would like to do, is kind of tried a couple of podcasts, where you're sitting there and people are asking you stuff, and I'm not just trying to be creative and think up my silly thoughts. Would you be interested? Would I be doing it through this, like my phone here then, right? Gotta go in a bit. Yeah, the kids need tending. What time is it? I don't know. Tree peakers. Okay, Tinman, did you ever see my little breakdown of yours called Tinman's Tree Peakers? No, I didn't. You can paste it to this thing if you like. Or did I? I might have. Okay. I don't know, because I wasn't necessarily meaning it that way. I was meaning where I get to, where you're in a person's studio, sort of. You're kicking back like that and enjoying life, and it's brought you to that spot. And okay, so then I see. Okay, you could send that to me then on Ian_arm@hotmail.com. And so then all I have to do is copy that and somehow paste it into going live or something. So that's the part I'm not going to ensure, but I'll figure it out. I'll try figuring that out. What time are you doing your Saturday show podcast? That video was scary where I got hooked with the Bigfoot. They are real and no kidding. Yeah, all of us here, Han, pretty much got you figured out, man. Do have that figured out too. Go to my first face-to-face and see if your Sasquatch looks at all anything like that. If you were able to, well, you obviously must have got some visual in there. Hey, Tinman, focus eyes. How's it going? It's going good. It's going good. You got the focus on? How long have I been hunting Bigfoot? My story is a pretty short story. I went through a couple of injuries 4 years back, and then a couple of years ago, I was starting to dabble more so into just, doing a lot of YouTube stuff, and I was looking at a lot of Bigfoot stuff. So I was naturally just learning some stuff, and I decided there was this one sighting of a Bigfoot here in Mission, out by a lake and stuff, so I decided to do some research on that. I got a video up of it. Anyway, so I think I called it my first experience or something like that. But anyways, I do a breakdown of it. I do Google Earth things and all this kind of stuff. Figure out where I think it is. I ended up doing a walk into there, and I was correct. It was the right spot. I got to the spot where, if you know the video, if you go to Thinker Thunker or something, that he does a good breakdown. A couple of guys do a couple of good breakdowns on it, but it's this guy who waves to a tree a couple of times or whatever, and then he walks back, and it looks like he steps down into a big ditch or whatever type thing. Well, I actually ended up on the other side, so the people who videotaped it are videotaping them walking around, or the one guy walking on the thing back and forth over here. Well, I'm over on this side at that eye level right there. There's a canoe right here. I didn't take the canoe over because it was just starting to get a little dusky out, and it was the first time I was really taking an adventure like that and such. I had no clues what to look for. It's, if I was at all looking for Bigfoot, then I would just be going like this, looking for Bigfoot, looking for Bigfoot. Now the way that I walk through the bush, it's incredible, man. I know it's hard for them to fool me. It's hard to fool. I want to be really tested by them. I want to. I want to see if I can bust one of these guys. I want to know if they're involved in missing women. I want to someday be able to put my practical, my knowledge here and see if I can help on any of these cases. That's one thing I would like to, because there's a bit of an art to it too. So I'd be able to start teaching other people the art. And I don't, I have no idea if they're behind missing women. I have no idea. I have hunches, I have suspicions, I have my own imagination, so I don't know, but I know one thing, I can track them very good. I know one thing, I can tell lots of times if they were just around, like a guy who's hunting a bear and he sees a track and he gets down. Certain guys are going to go, oh, there's a bear around here, and then just keep looking. Certain guys are going to get down on their hands and knees and they're going to figure out to maybe, I think it probably about a half an hour ago he passed through here. I'm not necessarily saying I'm that good like those kind of ranger kind of guys, but I'm probably the biggest person stating these guys are foolers, and they've been fooling humans hugely. We don't look at them like they're fooling us at all. So if you're not looking at your kid like when they're going, oh yeah, Mom, I'm just going to Johnny's house for the night, and yeah, we'll probably hit the sack about 11 after gaming for a while and stuff. Okay, have a good night. If you at all are suspicious or whatever, and you follow up on that suspicion, to figure out if he's really your kid's really going over to Johnny's. That's what I'm basically doing with so many times. So if I see a tree like you guys or somebody might see what they call I started with these kind of things. Why is this tree really arched? And then I would look at the marks on the trees. I'd look for swinging marks. I could, in my first couple of weeks, that's what my first few days, I think, my first day or two, I ended up calling the one part of my habitat jungle gym, a motel jungle gym, because it looked for like a great place that I figured they'd just come by here and crash once in a while, and you could obviously tell the kids were playing, all this kind of stuff. I could see all this, and I just turned myself into a monkey, and I imagined all this playing around inside there, what I would be doing, and it was what they're doing. And more so, I'm sure. And from there on, it just has expanded. And now, right where I'm parked, like, it's unbelievable. Here in British Columbia, here where I'm hanging around and stuff, if one of you people, any one of you people who is entertained by me and likes my show and stuff, all of a sudden knocks on my window or whatever and says, hey, Tinman, yeah, from your show and stuff like that, I'd be like, I'm not that tired. Do you feel like going for a night drive or something like that? I'd be like that. I'd be able to take any person. I would be able to take them to multiple places in, say, 2 hours. We could go to multiple places, and each one of those places, I'm pretty sure in the night, in the dark, I would be able to stir them up in my little ways that I might do my stuff, or maybe they're just in the mood, whatever. But I'm very confident that my guest would be able to have a thrilling night where they knew they were in amongst them like that. Most people claim they're going to go out and they're going to walk far and start looking and try to figure out where I don't know who does this, but I claim I can just go right here where I know they hang out. I know they trail through this highway that I'm parked at here, and their highway is at the river. Their highway is the railway lines and stuff like that. So if you ever park by the railway lines and stuff, just start thinking like a guy that wants to ride the rails, and he doesn't want to get caught. One of those guys, from like in the back in the Depression and stuff. Hello, Walter, Mr. White, Jesse. I have a very sexy voice. Are you talking to me, or are you talking to somebody that you're texting with? Get it? Tinman, you know, also a team will actually help you a lot. I know. I know teamwork would help a lot, but you probably hear it in my voice a little bit that I'm onto stuff that's pretty different than most people. And it's hard to get through that bump on some people if they're not going to be of that science-minded kind of thing. But I would like to be in a team where, you're just, I don't know. It needs to be intellectually rewarding for me, that's for sure. I don't want to get into something where I'm feeling like I'm arguing and that's what I'm kind of a little bit afraid of, having to, and maybe get into deep where this thing's so huge to me also, and maybe you don't see, it's hard to get inside my head. This thing's so huge to me right now, what I think the government should be doing, in my eyes, if I could shake the government and say, wake up, I'd be making them just turn around and taking 10 million bucks and just putting it into a fund or whatever and starting a program that's going big right off of the bat, how to start researching these guys and stuff. And I have a lot of information that that I believe can make it a little bit more helpful and such. And that's part of basically what my success is based on. What I'm, bragging about or telling you about when I'm walking around and I'm saying, you guys, I'm really walking around these freaking guys and they're pretending they're dogs and stuff. And it's pitch black out. They really are some of them really are just 10 feet in the bush here. Some of them really are just 25 feet. The big males, I believe, stay farther. And I'm curious why those guys won't break down and come a little bit closer. And why I say that is I judge it off of their voices. What kind of a bass they're getting out of their voice. There's that one that's, you might have heard on a couple of those videos where he's really woofing out I swear, I just thought to myself, that thing's sounds like he would be a bull mastiff, and he's not coming out after me. No fences, nothing like that. To me, I'm not doing this surprised. I'm doing that entertainment for you in all reality. To me, it's kind of like, I'm thankful probably that he's not all of a sudden jumping through and barking at me. I don't know what I'd do, but I don't want to freak out. I think I'd try to be strong enough to eat, kind of make bass sound back at him and stuff, and see how you're yelling at me first. See if I can yell back at him and make him feel, okay, this challenge, it's an equal challenge, stuff like that, right? So I know if I turned and tried running from a being like that, if he wants to get you, then he's gonna come after you and he's gonna get you, right? So wicked times. So yeah, Jason's saying he agrees with Han. Which team? Yeah, I would not understand how the government couldn't know what's going on. Oh yeah, and Bigfoot clan is new to me. Oh, okay, so it's one of the clans that's new. And look at 440. What are you seeing at 440 there, Walter? I don't have a separate thing where I could do it right now. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff, man. Like if, whatever. I like really talking about my real 100% where I know if a person's challenged and they're arguing with it too much, that it's just, their own mental blockage or something like that. I've been around in enough places now where I know a lot of, how our mind blocks us from so much stuff and will stop us, and it will scare us. It will take over in ways where our logic is sometimes, jeopardized. You know, one thing about when we're nervous is, so when we're out there all of a sudden, when we're feeling a little bit nervous walking around in the bush, say, I'm not saying that I necessarily do all the time. I try not to be nervous, and I really have ways of where I beat it down most of, not necessarily beat it down where, but I really am able to connect in with a real nice calmness within myself. But anyways, but if you start going into nervousness, changes the rate of our heart, changes the rate of our blood, changes the rate of your intellectual process, and it doesn't necessarily increase it to be better. So that's another helpful thing on trying to keep yourself just still, calm, what you're doing, because we got to be about our best whereabouts, our best understanding, and we have to be learning it before we're going out into the bush. You know what I mean? Like, I try to press to people that I've been learning my whole life. Part of the reason why my success is like this is because I've been in training for this. I've sat and, like, I used to breed rats and mice because I used to have snakes. So I had sometimes had like 300 rats, 300 mice, all just for breeding and stuff and for making babies. And I had, depending on the setup, sometimes I'd go in there and I'd perform all my duties, cleaning everything up. And I had this one, what do you call it? Like a scientist lab kind of rat facility thing where it's all drawered and everything drops and all that kind of stuff. I had one of those things and hundreds or tons of cages and tanks and stuff. Anyway, so I'd go out there and I'd do all my cleaning and stuff. And for my entertainment, what would I have? I have either to sit there and just study their behavior. And I'd just sit there and I'd be looking over here, fighting, stuff going on here, get the difference between rats and mice and stuff. Or my option was go in the house and sit and watch TV, right? So I'd do that. I had lizards. I used to just sit there for long times watching the lizards behave. I'd do a certain amount of interaction with them myself, just like I had iguanas for a while there, and I used to get them to almost hypnotize, and they would close their eyes. It's really cool with the lizard if you can just get one eye in their where they're turned, so just one eye is looking at you, so they don't have both eyes on you. And then you do this thing where you just keep going around, get as close as you can, and then you just keep circling around like that. Well, I don't know where the thing is, but yeah, lots of times you'll get him to close his eye. Works on an iguana. I don't know all the other lizards, but I used to do that with my male and female. I used to do, the big dewlap. I used to get in fights with them and stuff, and kind of head tease them just to get them going. And so through this, obviously I learned from the iguanas that he did recognize me as a bit of a male and stuff. And even if I went up to him and I started the head bobbing like this and stuff, he would start doing it back. He understood that he's looking at my eyes. He, more so, like a mouse. You look at a mouse and you have no clue if they're connecting with your eyes. Right? So there's kind of a difference of understandings and stuff. So that I ended up having a farm where I had close to around 200 at one in particular time. Had lots of animals come through and go and so on and so forth. But at one in particular time, I was over 200 animals there, and I loved goats. Goats, if you know goats got great character. Sheep are kind of all right. If you have a lone sheep, and it's like a buddy with your kids and stuff, it's not too bad. But that's my life. And now I'm stuck out here looking for Bigfoot. I came across a story, 13 months ago that started, at first was just a big adventure. My first 21 days was just this mind-blowing venture. And I remember even thinking to myself, man, this is too much, man. Maybe I should stop. And, there's just a lot of stuff going on here. Like, this is just so weird and trippy and stuff. That was my first 21 days in that habitat that I call with the motel jungle gym there. Anyways, and on like about the 21st day, with my camera. I've pointed in the back thick bushes, you guys, and I said, you know, if I want to go any further, I have to learn how to track you guys into those thick bushes back there. I'm kind of videotaping for the YouTube, and I'm saying that and looking at this thick, scary, intimidating bush. And I remember that day. I remember just thinking, holy cow, man, that's really scary. And I guess in a way I was almost making that commitment and stuff. Like, at least I was making the commitment that I'm willing to explore it. And then it was either the next day or the next day. So I'm like somewhere around 23 days. I decided to take a different route to that habitat. I decided to go to the habitat and go see it. It's about, from where I am right now, it's about a 20-minute drive. Gorgeous spot and so on and so forth, but I like staying closer to my kids here, and that's why I don't stay out that way. Anyways, so on about the 23rd day then, I go a different way. Instead of going the back roadway, I decided to go the highway and come up a different way through there, and I ended up coming around in a couple of spots, and I didn't really even realize where I was or anything. Didn't recall the road I was even on. And some people were getting some water on the side of the road, so I pulled over there to get some water, realized there's a bit of a trail there. Went in the trail, decided, yeah, I'm going to go for a walk here, lock up my car, go for a trail up in there, trail walk. I ended up staying in that area for a couple of hours or more. That's when I'm in a different area now. Not knowing that I'm in a different area. I'm actually thinking that this must be connected to that area and stuff. And so I'm in there for a couple of hours, now coming to the conclusion, hey, I know how to track. I'm picking up signs that they're around here. I'm picking up signs that I believe they're like in these bushes probably and stuff. I was very suspicious that they were all hanging out as this ravine thing and such, right? Well, on my way out of there, I stopped. There was kind of these black, either crow or raven feather, like the whole wing together, maybe two wings, I can't remember, but at least one wing. Lift up the wing, and there's an eagle skull. I still have it. It's too buried. I got a baby's eagle skull out of that one. And there was also another, those were the baby skulls? Yes, those were the baby skulls. And then there was a heron's baby skull under there, and then a skull of just a shedding of a snake, probably about that big, maybe a little bit bigger of a shedding, its head and stuff, but it was just the shedding of the head or whatever. It was really nice and quite tough and stuff. Anyways, I left that stuff except for the eagle's skull. I decided to keep it. I took it for a gift. I wasn't sure if that was there when I walked up. I never recalled seeing it. I wasn't necessarily looking down or whatever. But I found it on the way out. And a really cool, interesting thing to add to that is I've been back there a couple of times. Well, about 2 or 3 months later or something like that, I was back there, but on the other side of the ravine, which is just some guys could throw a rock over where I was standing. I found another burial spot there where there was blue heron. There's always some kind of wings, it seems, or wing bones involved and stuff. But anyways, blue heron wing bones, a larger blue heron's skull, and a larger bald eagle's skull. And the super cool thing to add to all that is probably around the time when I was just getting curious about Bigfoot, and I did that first video a couple of years back where, I was going for more walks and stuff, and I decided to do that walk and see if I could find the lake. Well, I was hanging out around Stave Lake once there, and I think I might have video on it or something. I'm not too sure, but I do have video of where I painted the stuff. Anyways, I found also then, but I was not in Bigfoot world at all, together, an eagle skull, and a blue heron skull. So there's 3 times, guys. This one was in a big stump thing. Anyways, those ones I found, I kept the bones. Actually, I might have the heron's bone, one of the heron bones right here. Yep. See, I had black paint on it, so you can see the black paint. Jack got a hold of it, my dog, and I was lucky he didn't wreck it all up. Just started to try it out. He also did it to the eagle's. Well, he might have not have chewed on this, but the eagle's head he did. But he didn't totally. I got to him. I was lucky. But anyway, so you can see the kind of the growth nubs off of here. Maybe you might be able to. Yeah, you can see them a bit. Those are like where a feather would be growing out. So this is a pretty strong, big, heavy-duty bone on a gray heron. And for some reason, Bigfoot are into them. The heron and the eagle. And in 3 times, 3 locations, like 3 different spots, I'd say. Yeah, it's only been 3 times. I know it's been 3 times for sure. Anyways, I've come across those together. For some reason, I'm trying to think if there's a 4th, but I think it's just the 3 times. So what's the fam up to? Mice need no help making babies, I know. It was the easiest little job in the world. Looks like a dogman. And you said that was my video that's... Oh, okay, it's called My Bigfoot Clan is New to Me. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. No, the bald eagles here, they're not endangered. They're probably going to be becoming a bit of a pest in a few years, my guess. There's something about them. There's a lot. There's, I don't know. Hey, Bill, how's it going, buddy? Don't try and think. Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill, that cameraman that you got, that is a wicked camera. What is my favorite Bigfoot? I don't know what a favorite Bigfoot would be yet. The ones that are nice and don't want to hurt humans. I don't know about all that stuff yet. But I know this, that right now there's a bit of an eagle festival thing going along in our area because there's a big movement that happens right now. Have I been attacked? I've been verbally and physically attacked in the sense where they were attacking the bush as an intimidation. So there is a physical attack. There is an aggressive scowling at me, calling at me, growling at me, whatever different things they were doing there. And yeah, so that's how I was attacked. And it's pretty cool because it's all on tape, but it's pitch black. And you have to just get your mind into it and listen to it a number of times and pick out the different noises and no noises. And, you know, if you hear something that you believe is on the bridge in the background, no, there's a bridge there and stuff. So, okay, that's a car, obviously. And try to own the noises. But you'll end up hearing... I don't think it's this kind of breaking, you know, on a knee or something. I really believe it's... You might be able to tell at some point where, the sounds overlap in a way that you believe there's more than one. I believe there's more than one. And the very first growling, right at 3 seconds, as soon as you get to 3 seconds, like 3 seconds of video play time, then you're going to hear this sound that... You just have to keep breaking it down, and you figure out how you believe that sound. But that's a growling sound. To me, it's kind of a trumpeted growl. And near the end, when I say, okay, I hear you, I'm kind of getting the point, I'll leave you alone then. I heard that sound again, but I didn't hear it as mighty as that. Not that I didn't hear it. I did hear it at the very beginning. It's just that I'm walking and I'm making a lot of noise. So... But through all that noise, I ended up hearing it. I'm so thankful that I did. And before that big growl, I actually think he kind of goes, it's almost like us. You know how we kind of go to call somebody, hey, hey, you know, like this kind of thing. It's almost like that might happen. It's kind of like just a little, I wasn't sure if it's a swoosh. Oh, yeah, for sure on my daughter's phone. We listened to it the other day. Different phones, different systems, they sound different. And on her, she was listening to it across the table. And she, oh, yeah, I heard it. And she was referring to the very first, what I thought might have been a swoosh of clothes. I was never sure, but after hearing it off of her phone, For sure it's a growl, but it's just really light and faint. And then directly after it is a longer, stronger one, and it's longer also. And it's, to me, is just mind blowing, you guys. I don't think you really understand how mind blowing it is that, I've had these experiences, and I don't care. It's not about me getting the patty footage. It's more about, we have to tell the world that there can be hundreds of thousands of these things, maybe even millions of them. And there could end up starting to be, what do you call it? Birth control issues. There could start being food issues. All the fracking and all the breaking and all the lots of hydro issues, where I know they're pushing our wood poles and we're replacing wood poles and all that kind of stuff because of these frickin' buggers. I know this for sure. And another thing that I'm going to just guess that is for sure going on, but it's kind of a educated guess, that our great big power station poles and all, those great big ones that are holding up the ones that are going through the hundreds of miles from the dams and all that. Those foundations, in most cases, are just bolted right to rock systems and stuff. And what do I keep telling everybody? They're fracking the crap out of our rock, and nobody's noticing. So what makes the power line guys out there notice that they got things on teeter-tottered things? And maybe hidden also, because remember, they do their bush, and they don't mind doing a lot of breaking behind that bush and keeping it fully exposed for many of our eyes forever for some reason. Just a video that I just put up, guys. It's about I don't know what I call it, but it's talking about I say something about government. Pay attention and stuff, guys. Go on that one. The thumbnail on this one picture shows some green there. And that in between whiteness is the powdered up chalk, concrete materials from this guy. Keeps coming past here probably. I don't know how many times he's already scored it, but I know 100%, I'd bet my life on it, that he's scoring that. And eventually, because I've called this before, they score with their nails. I think they are able to go up to some rocks and stuff, get you where you see it, and some rock here, and they can... I'll explain one of those big cement things where I have a piece of it. But the big 4,000 pound blocks like this? Well, it's got a corner on it, in a corner here, right? I happen to have one of these corners, and you can tell that the guy came along and scribed it down on an angle on this face, scribed it down to that point there on that face, scribed it across like that from that point to that point, did whatever, punk, it fell off. Where I found it, I don't even think it was from that park, so it's really weird that the guy would have carried it forever. I have it in my little collection box too. I did a video up on it. But I kid you not, you guys, you can 100% see that it was scribed. And there's no way a human did it. There's and there's ample, I have way more stuff. I go, when people, there's that one where people are guessing that, no, that's a bird that made that birdhouse. I don't know if I might have said they're into birdhouse making or something on this one video. And some carvings that they did inside the tree and stuff. And these people can say it's a bird, or people can think it's a human that did it or whatever. But it's up so high that, and where I was, that a tree lover type person isn't going to be carrying something that they could stand on to climb up there and chisel something out. So there's really no chance that it's humans that were doing it. I got to get back to that spot. Anyways, and nor a bird, because you got to understand the refining and stuff of a bird. Like when you go up there and you look at that birdhouse thing, how well it's plateaued in there, how well the walls and level and square dimensional things that these guys are able to do, they're, they will be able to just make a perfect square. Like can the little kid do it as good as dad? That's just like, we all know that kind of stuff. But they're artists with whatever they're carving with, whatever they're cutting with, whatever they do, a lot of manipulation. So the big hydro poles, you know, the wooden ones all around that I'm saying, you know, the treated ones and stuff. What they're I believe the problem they're causing them, just go up and look at them. They're all splitting. They're splitting to crap. So whether it's I don't know. Don't know, guys. Don't know, but it's time to get the word out. Peace out, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Hey, Bingus, how's it going? Doolin 12,000, how's it going? Sherry, good night. Take care. Thanks for coming in, Sherry. Trav Harris. The growl one? I think I do have verbal attack on it. If you go on my playlist, sure you know how to do that. You just, when you're on my channel, then you go to my videos or to my playlist or whatever. You hit my playlist, and there's one on there where, I don't know, it says my top 100s, and it'll be in there. I've got, you know, on the subject, I've got 1,600 videos up. And it's confusing. I will, Bingus. Take care, everybody. Yeah, not unless they eat them. I don't want them to eat me. You know, I don't think they would burn. You never know. Burn their own. That's Doolin asking if I would think. Well, somebody's talking like there's supposedly a body out there floating around right now that is being questioned, but we'll find out from that. But bodies will come around eventually. They're starting to get too many of them and stuff. There's going to be, again, a lone guy who gets run over or something by an accident. Somebody throws him in his trunk. And it gets, you know, there's been talk of that has happened. And every time that has happened, oh yeah, I heard on a story at one time. And I remember thinking that I could believe the story. It sounded pretty authentic. It involved some rangers and stuff. And it might have even been the ranger telling the old story of, this is our part of it. And then we were there, and then these guys showed up. They loaded up the body, and nothing was ever said about it, and that was like many years old. So later, hey, focus eyes. Take care, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Tinman signing off. Thanks for the thumbs ups.